Brad, just could you give us an update first of all on Morgan?
Yeah, so syndesmosis, and we're probably looking at just after the round 20 game. So I think we've got 5 more matches, and then we have that week off, and then he'll be back after that. So 6, 7 weeks.
Was syndesmosis is a bit lower than the shin, wasn't it? A shin, the initial
Well,
thought.
that's what we thought. We had a lot of shin soreness, and it didn't really present like a syndesmosis. So, at one stage there at halftime, they thought he might have had maybe a small fracture in his shin, but that's the way it's worked out. It doesn't need a knot, but we can rehab it. He's in a boot for a couple of weeks, and he'll be right in 6, 7 weeks. So it'll be 5 games that he misses.
How much of a blow is it in terms of losing him from selection?
Yeah, look, it is, but it's very hard to go through your season and not get injuries. So just presents opportunity for other guys. We've always focused on that, and it's probably more of a injuries. Like they hurt the team, but they're more of a disappointment for the individual. He was playing some good footy, and they strung 11, 12 games together in a row. Now he just gets a rehab, and he'll be right. He'll be the fresh one on the scene at the back end of the year for us.
Who does that then potentially open a door for?
Well, Cooper Jenkins will come back into the team, and we'll just move things around. And like I said, we still haven't come up with our best combination, and we don't need to yet. And it's just about getting some game time into a lot of these guys. And yeah, so Cooper done a really good job for us over the last couple of weeks in reserve grade and got some good minutes. So it's come at a good time for him.
If that's an enforced change, are you pondering any forced changes given the result last week?
No, like I said, a lot of we don't want to. The accountability still got to be there. We're not accepting that performance, but I don't think I need to panic yet. Our performance last week was very reactionary based. Not, we didn't front load all our actions. We were probably looking for that soft win where we reacted to how they played, not sort of coming front loaded how we wanted to play. It's a tough lesson to learn, but the priority is to make sure our response is good tomorrow.
How do you go about addressing something that's as intangible as a drop off in attitude? How have you addressed that during the week?
I think it was easy to see, with our actions. The boys didn't hide from it; they agreed. And look, when I say attitude, it wasn't like we had an attitude that we didn't want to win. We just were looking for the easiest way to win, which is not. It's too hard to win that way, and that's what we were doing. And like I said, we reacted because a lot of our effort was good, but it was all reactionary effort. Your effort needs to be there, front loaded, and your game plan and your mindset needs to be about you and how you build your game, not what response we come up with compared to what they're doing. So, and we haven't done that for a long, long time. But it's just proved another lesson. Or it was another lesson for us to learn.
It's been a little while, Brad, since you've had to demand a response. How confident are you that that will come on Friday?
Oh, I've seen it at training already, and they come in on Monday for our review and a bit sheepish, and but that's a good thing. Like they were disappointed. And then but Tuesday the response was great. We bounced back in with the energy. Like I said, Monday was we were a bit sheepish and down on energy, and but it's a good thing that I'd rather them come in and see them hurting and be disappointed than just sweeping it under the carpet. You need to have a day of where you deal with it, and then you move on. So and we've trained well today, but now it's the only thing that matters is what we do in the 80 minutes tomorrow.
It's the first time you've been in front of Leigh this year. I think it's the first time you've actually faced Leigh since
Yes.
you've arrived. What are you expecting from them?
No, they move the ball well. They play a lot of footy and they back themselves, and they've got pretty well balanced team. With their forwards, they carry the ball strong and then they move the ball well. They've got some speed and power on the edges. So, yeah, I think they're in terms of their health of their team, they're pretty healthy and nearly at a full strength. So it's a good challenge for both teams. Both teams, the win is important, isn't it, this week?
Isn't it just lastly from me, Joe Offengawi's in their side. I think you might have signed him for Parramatta. What are your memories of him?
Oh, Joff is extremely fit. He's a real effort-based, energy-based type player. He's got a good, strong carry. And he'll be looking to lead all their physicality with his line speed and his carry. He's obviously fitted in quite nicely to their team.
Will it be good to say good day to him on
Yeah,
Friday?
yeah, because I had a good relationship with Joffa, and was one of the first guys to make sure he reached out to me when I left Paris. So, yeah, but I'm happy for him and his family. He's got a young family, and he looks like he's enjoying himself.
Wondered what you thought about this year's fixture list. As you've just mentioned, first time you played, Leigh, you've already had a couple of trips to Salford, a couple of home games against Wakefield. You're playing Saints again in 2 weeks' time. It's a little bit unbalanced, isn't it? Have you got any particular thoughts on that?
I don't try to think about that sort of stuff too much. It is, like it's strange that we haven't played Leigh yet, but I think, with the amount of teams and the fixtures that you're trying to play, if you have a look at the NRL, it's the same over there. Like sometimes you play teams twice and sometimes you get them once. Sometimes you play them, twice in the first 6 weeks. So it's just the way that the draw works out. I don't think it makes much of a difference to any of the teams. If you had like a nice easy run of home and away fixture for every team, it'd be great, but it's just what it is, mate. But it'd be nice to test ourselves against Leigh and see where we're at, because we've had a good account against the other teams and we know where we stand with them, and so this is a good challenge for us that and a game that we haven't been able to prep for before.
And just on the squad selection, obviously Presley Cassell is in the 21 this week. Is he someone that could maybe get a shot over the 5 weeks that?
Yeah, he might get closer. He's not in the team this week. He'll be 18th, but we're just trying to make sure he just before you do throw him in, just get him training with the boys, and do the whole game day preparation, the warm up, and he's already had one experience of that. Just to settle his nerves, so when the first opportunity he gets, it's not new to him. And that's what we're about at the moment, just trying to prep him for an opportunity that might present, in the future.
He's finished his education now, hasn't he? How's he been looking since he's joined the full-time squad?
Yeah, mate, we've got a lot of the young guys training full-time now that their education's finished. And I'm big on training, and it would have been nice for him to have a full pre-season with us. That's not the case. He'll get it next year. And because I think that's how they get better, especially the young guys. They get better with the more training in the pre-seasons they do. But then it gets to a stage where the only way you can give them experience is by putting them out there. Like you can only do so much training until it gets to a point where they just need to play.
Would you be confident about putting? I think he's only 18, isn't he? Would you be confident about putting him out there in a Super League game when the chance comes?
Yeah, I would be, just because of what's around him. Like you can put him in a good. You're not throwing him to the wolves because you're putting him in around a team of players that know what their job is and what the standards and expectations are, and that they're only going to help with his transition, not hinder.
Given the talk around attitude, have you had to build up the importance of this game with the players to sharpen minds?
No, no, and like you've got to be careful with that word attitude too, because it could mean so many things. And like I said, I think our attitude to the game was more around reactionary effort. It's not like we didn't want to come there to win, or we had the wrong attitude. We just the attitude towards how we wanted to get the job done was not the same attitude that we've been having. And like our attitude has been around front loading our effort and going after the game, and being the dictator instead of being dictated to. And we got dictated to, and then we tried to react to it, which becomes hard work.
It does look like an important game looking at the table. Just how important is it with 11 games still to go after this?
Yeah, look, we're back at home, and the 2 points is really important, but probably, we haven't focused on that. We've focused on our performance. We've been talking about our performances and being comfortable and happy that our performances of what we want from a Leeds Rhinos team at the start of the year. And that's, so the result was disappointing for us last week, but it's more around the performance, and we need to see, the team performance on what we've been priding ourselves on every other week.
Yeah. So it's as much about the response as anything else, and like the table and things like that. You want to make sure that was an off day last week.
Yeah, well, that's right. We want to make sure that's, that we don't see that again. And then, you know, sometimes like our performance could be really good, but it mightn't be good enough to win the game. But, you know, it's about our performance, which is a priority, and certainly being back at home in front of our, you know, our supportive, you know, crowd, and hopefully we've got a big fan base here tomorrow.
Just going back on to Presley, how do you know when a young player is ready to come into the wider squad?
I don't know if there's a real formula to it or if you exactly know, but I think that where you're travelling, some things that help with your decision is how the team's travelling, how he's trained, where his confidence levels are, how he's playing at the levels below, the confidence from the other players in your squad, and then also, you know, like what you're putting him into in terms of what players he's going to have around him. So all those areas for me, all those boxes are ticked. It's now just the timing of when it does happen.
Are there any other young players that are kind of pushing towards getting into the wider squad or the 17?
Look, they're training well at the moment, all the young guys, and you just don't know when your needs are going to be there for them. But at the moment, like, I think their priority is just focusing on training and being able to do that day to day, week to week, and looking forward to a pre-season to get themselves ready for next year. But you just don't know what happens from, you know, every week the game changes, things happen. So, but at the moment, like, Presley's the closest.